Our next topic is following on to what we talked about with passwords and with password theft. So once we are able to steal password hashes in some way or another, we've got to be able to crack them. So let's talk about password cracking a little bit. Now there's two main ways to crack passwords: dictionary methods and brute force methods. And you'll hear about rainbow tables, but that's almost just like a dictionary method. I'll explain why in a moment. In order to crack a password, there's a couple of things we could try. We could try online cracking, which basically means that we online actively in the system try different passwords, and that's usually a brute force method. The problem is that doesn't work very well because a lot of administrators set up account lockout. So account lockout may be set up to where the user puts in a wrong password more than 5 times and the account is locked out. So if we try to crack a password, we've really only got 4 or 5 shots, and we don't know how many we have because we don't know what lockout is, possibly. The other way is offline cracking, which is much more successful, and that's what most hackers typically do, because if they can steal the password hashes, they can crack them on their own offline at their leisure. Now, again, online cracking, we might lock a user account. Offline cracking means we get the database containing the password hash files. Now, previously I showed you where those passwords are stored. Unix and Linux stores them in the etc shadow, which only root has access to, and Windows stores them in the SAM file, the Security Accounts Manager file, and that's typically located in Windows System 32. Now let's talk about brute force for a moment. Brute force methods simply try one character at a time, increasing the character space and length until you find the correct password hash or the correct password period. And what happens is, let's say we don't know at all how long the password could be. So we start at, one character. Well, then we don't know how much the character space is. So first of all, we start out with the small letter A. We try that. And what happens is, if you remember from our discussion on hashing, what a brute force method will do is hash the letter A, send it, try to compare the hashes, see if they match or not. If they match, it has the right password. If they don't match, then that was the wrong password, and it moves on to the letter B. And it does this for each of the 26 letters of the alphabet, and then may move to AA, AB. So it increases character space every time, and it may go through all upper, lower numbers and special characters, and it increases length and character space every time. So it starts at the beginning and basically goes until it gets the correct password or hash. Now, if you think about it, eventually it's going to get the right one. It's going to be 100% effective for almost any password you could come up with. Here's the problem. It could take several thousand years to do so and may require a lot of time and computing power. So obviously this isn't very practical. If the passwords are short and simple, then it may be practical. If you know that the user only has 4-character passwords, then that's probably going to work. But it's not very practical on longer passwords that are more complex. That's where dictionary cracking comes into play. Now, dictionary methods, we call it a dictionary, but it's really a word list. And these word lists can contain millions and millions and millions of entries. And don't think of a dictionary the way we typically think of it, with just like the English language and so forth. Think of it including normal words, variation of words with numbers, special characters, and so forth. Any kind of character combination you can come up with, you can put in a dictionary. So a password cracking program will have its word list. It'll take the first word out of the list. It'll hash it. It'll compare that word to the password hash that you have. If they match, great, you've got it. If they don't match, it moves to the next word. And it goes through every word in that list, and the process repeats on and on and on until the word list is exhausted. So here's the thing. Dictionary methods are much quicker and probably are more effective. But once you run out of words, that's it. It doesn't try every possibility. It only tries the possibilities that are in the dictionary file. So obviously, it behooves us as hackers to create really good dictionary files. Medical dictionaries, sports dictionaries, foreign language dictionaries, music dictionaries. And not just dictionaries with normal words, but with different word combinations. You'll also find that some password cracking tools can take those dictionaries of words and also do what's called mangling them. John the Ripper can do it, Cain and Abel can do it. And mangling them means that you take a word, let's say password, and you may mangle it by changing the A to an @ sign or the S to a $sign. So it's trying these different combinations of the same basic word. That's called mangling. So basically, in addition to all the words, let's say you have 1 million words in your dictionary, adding those other things that it does, the mangling can increase really that effective dictionary to several million. So you've actually got some really good possibilities there. Now, one thing about dictionary cracking is that it takes just plain text words. Well, you've heard the term rainbow tables, and all a rainbow table really is that you've taken a dictionary, or you've taken every possible word you can think of, maybe a brute force list, and you pre-compute the hashes. So what you get in the end is not a dictionary of words, not a word list of words basically, but a word list of hashes. And that increases the speed of cracking because you've got hashes that you match directly with it, and so you can quickly go down the list and just see what matches instead of taking the time to take the word, compute the hash on it, compare it. Or take the word, mangle it, compute the hash, and compare it. So that's really what rainbow tables are, and you can compute these in advance, and a lot of people have. You can buy gigs and gigs of rainbow tables, or you can create them yourself, but it may take a long time. In fact, months to create like all the different possible NTLM hashes, for example, given the character space and the length that you want. So we're going to look at a demonstration of Cain and Abel coming up, where we're going to show you about brute force and dictionary cracking.